Welcome to Wellness Up Close. I'm Ann Lanker. Have you ever feared coming down with a severe disorder like cancer, heart disease, asthma, Alzheimer's, arthritis, or diabetes? Are you doing everything you can to stay healthy and protect your body from these deadly diseases? Or are you or a loved one currently suffering from a debilitating disease? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need to watch this documentary program. Over the last 4 years, we've followed the lives of many people who used to suffer from life-threatening diseases. Today, all of them are symptom-free and leading healthy lives. Stay tuned to find out about a new scientific discovery which could dramatically improve your health or literally save your life.
I was diagnosed with cancer in April of this year. Chemotherapy is a very, very tough thing to go through. I have no symptoms of cancer. I have been cancer-free now for 4 years, and I feel terrific. It's a situation where not only do I feel incredible gratitude, but I'm blessed. I'm absolutely blessed. Glyconutrients were a blessing.
In my opinion, the glyconutritionals have been one of the most exciting medical discoveries in all the years I've been in medical practice. I've seen some more astounding results in the short time that glyconutrients have been used, in my experience, than with most any prescription drug that I've seen.
I was tired all the time. I was having panic attacks. I had no reason to be depressed, but I was. I had pain all over my body. The doctors had given up on me. And I prayed for an answer, and the glyconutritional program that came my way for me was the answer, the gift that God gave me.
I view glyconutrients as an actual incredible discovery. And I look at it as not just like the discovery of penicillin, but it's like the discovery of penicillin, insulin, and almost any spectacular medicine all rolled into one. This is a truly remarkable discovery that I think everybody in America, if not the world, should know.
What are glyconutrients, and why are so many doctors and their patients calling them such a remarkable discovery? Our field reporter Jana Wallace interviewed 2 prominent medical doctors to get the story. The first one, Dr. Reg McDaniel, has spent over 20 years as a medical researcher. His studies on how micronutrients modulate the immune system earned him the prestigious Medical Doctor of the Year award in Texas. He has presented his findings to a committee of the Congress of the United States and to a special meeting of the United Nations. We also interviewed Dr. Mitch Fleischer, a respected family physician who holds medical degrees in allopathic and homeopathic medicine. His research on integrative nutritional therapy has been featured in many medical journals and magazines. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Dr. McDaniel, without getting too technical, can you tell us what are glyconutrients and what role do they have in helping people with diseases and other illnesses?
Glyconutrients are the complex carbohydrates with very special sugars that are used in synthesis of molecules for optimal structure and function of our body to make it work.
Dr. Fleischer, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. In fact, glyconutrients they provide the alphabet with which cells create languages to be able to communicate with one another. And that's what allows for health and maintenance and all healing mechanisms to occur.
So it's a whole body process.
Exactly.
Dr. McDaniel, why is taking glyconutrients so important for maintaining a healthy immune system?
Well, Jana, the defense of the body starts out by our immune system reading on the surface of infectious agents, whether it be the capsule of bacteria or the envelope of viruses, what it is versus reading our own cells. And this is written in sugars.
I'd like to add something to what Dr. Reginald just said. The bottom line is that the language of life is written in sugars, and that not just human cells or animal cells have sugars as the means of communication on the surface, but all bacteria and all viruses, all parasites, everything. So in order for the immune system to be able to recognize what's self or other, it has to do that by these glycoproteins, these glyconutrients on the surface of all the organisms.
To illustrate one of the main reasons glyconutrients are needed in a person's body, let's take a look at this simple graphic illustration. Glyconutrients contain 8 essential sugars which coat the outside of all the healthy cells in your body. This glyconutrient coating allows the cells to properly communicate with each other. Why do they need to communicate? Simply because when the healthy cells are being attacked by harmful infectious agents, they can send for help. Immediately, an army of friendly white cells will not only attack and kill the infectious invaders, but they will help repair and restore the damaged healthy cells. 4 years ago, our crew interviewed Barbara DesRochers and her daughter Michelle, who almost died several times from her acute asthma. Let's watch.
When Michelle was born, she had a compromised immune system, and for the first really 8 years of her life, we battled upper respiratory, we battled asthma. About when she was 7 years old or 8 years old, she had a severe asthma attack, and that was the first I really knew that she had severe chronic asthma. She stopped breathing. We had to dial 911, and paramedics came and got her breathing again. Well, she lived on antibiotics and steroids, the inhalers, and we had to go to a pulmonary, asthma doctor.
Here's what Barbara had to say about Michelle's health after she started taking glyconutritionals. Again, the interview took place over 4 years ago.
Glyconutritionals have totally eliminated all of the symptoms of asthma for Michelle. She's just free of them. Glyconutritionals have given me Michelle back to, her quality of life. It's been life-altering. I came so close to losing her so many times that there's nothing that can scare a mother or a family more than that, and I don't have that fear anymore. It's just wonderful. It's the best thing that happened in our life.
And on today's program, we are very pleased to have Barbara and Michelle join us. Welcome.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you for having us.
Let me ask you, Barbara, how has Michelle's asthma been since we last interviewed you?
Well, she really has remained well the whole time since the 4 years since I saw you last. She's the asthma, all of the symptoms are virtually gone.
Barbara, that is wonderful. I remember when we last visited, you told us you had come so close to losing Michelle many times from complications with her asthma. Do you still have that fear?
No, not at all, Anne. That's a thing of the past, thank God. We lived, on the edge of just losing her for so many years, and now it's just so good to know that I don't have to worry about that anymore, that she doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Thank God for miracles. I understand that Michelle's Down syndrome condition has made remarkable improvement and she's doing well in school. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I would have to say that as a student now in high school, she has soared. She's been on the honor roll now for, since 6th grade, and straight A's. She's in regular high school, regular classes. She's a great student now.
Let me ask you, Barbara, how much credit do you give to glyconutrients in helping Michelle with her Down syndrome and asthma?
I give them all the credit because there's nothing else that we've done differently. We added the glyconutrients, and this is what we have. We have an A student. We have someone who is an attention deficit. We have someone who's asthma symptom-free, and just a beautiful young lady.
Thank you both so much for sharing your wonderful story with us.
Thank you for letting us tell our story.
In my 20 years of work in the pharmaceutical industry, I've seen an awful lot of great discoveries. But in that same time period, I don't think I can say I've ever seen anything that offers more promise for people both sick and well as glyconutrient technology.
I've had exposure to a number of patients whose conditions were, previous to glyconutrients, unbearable and really difficult to live with. And after they incorporated glyconutrients into their self-health care plan, they have become much more comfortable, they have become more productive, they've often gone back to work, and in general, their overall sense of wellness is markedly improved.
What's impressed me most as a physician in using glyconutrients is that they've had such a profound effect on a wide variety of conditions. Everything from chronic inflammatory problems to hyperactivity syndromes in children. The glyconutrients work in a way that prescription drugs can't. They work from the inside out to allow the body to heal itself and maintain that state of constant well-being, where prescription drugs in many cases just literally cover up the problem.
As a hospital administrator, I see coming into my hospital every day people with a host of different chronic illnesses. The unfortunate part is I see them again and again and again, the same people. They're not having very much success with getting rid of their symptoms. And these are people that were probably healthy before they ever got the disease. My opinion is that everyone can benefit from these glyconutritionals, and everyone needs to be on them for the preventative value that they bring to all of us.
One of the questions that often comes up is how could one simple little glyconutrient seem to help so many different disorders or diseases? And the problem is that the body is dependent upon several different basic mechanisms for health. And one of those is the immune system. One of those is simply communicating properly between cells. All of us are not being given proper nutrients in our food. And because of that, we're missing these essential glyconutrients. Our cells are not communicating. Our immune system is dysfunctional. We need to put these glyconutrients back into our diet so that we can maintain our health and prevent diseases.
Just over 4 years ago, we interviewed Patricia Barnett. She was fighting cancer. Her baseball cap tried to hide the ravages of the chemotherapy. Let's listen to her emotional story.
I was diagnosed with cancer in April of this year. The side effects that you can have from chemotherapy are horrendous, and many times the side effects are harder than the cancer itself. Chemotherapy is a very, very tough thing to go through.
Patricia started on a glyconutritional program and found hope and much more. Take a look.
After finding glyconutritionals, that was the key to really giving me my life back. I feel that I have hope. I feel that there's hope not only for me, but a lot of people that are searching just to feel great. I feel that glyconutritionals have given me the edge. And if there's one thing that I know, especially going through cancer treatment, is that that's what you want. You want the edge.
On today's show, we are very pleased to have Patricia Barnett join us. Nice to see you, Patricia.
And it is so great to be here.
Patricia, you look absolutely great. Now, we last saw you about 4 years ago. How have you been doing since then?
Wow. You know, I'm alive and I'm living, and my health is stellar. I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. And 4 years ago, I was really kind of in a point of struggle and a challenge. And it was a great opportunity to really get a great idea of what life's all about.
So tell us, how do you think the glyconutrients helped with your recovery?
There were really 3 main benefits that I got from the glyconutritionals that I think are so important for everyone, especially people that are out there in a situation where they're being treated for cancer. The first is that glyconutrients gave me a sense of well-being. The second benefit that glyconutritionals gave me is the benefit to have optimal health and to be as strong health-wise, to be as healthy as possible going through a treatment and going through the stem cell transplant. And then the third most important benefit is that of recovery. And as you can see, Anne, I have recovered and I feel wonderful.
And you look wonderful, Patricia. Let me ask you, are you still fighting any cancer symptoms?
No, I am not, and I am healthy. I have no symptoms of cancer. I have been cancer-free now for 4 years, and I feel terrific. It's a situation where not only do I feel incredible gratitude, but I'm blessed. I'm absolutely blessed. Glyconutrients were a blessing. There are people that are on their knees right now praying to God for help, and this is the answer. This was the answer for me.
Patricia, thank you very much for joining us and giving other people such hope.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Next, Ken Walker had severe diabetes and had to have a toe amputated. He was told there was no hope. Here's how Ken told his story.
My body's had diabetes for about 20 years, and I've been on insulin about 10 years. I've had some other compromises in my body. Because of the diabetes, I had, the bone density was quite minimal, and I broke all the foot bones here, and my foot tipped off and my arch fell down, and I had, they ended up amputating one toe because it had gangrene in it, and I was kind of going the wrong direction. There was no hope in my life.
Ken Walker saw some incredible results shortly after taking the glyconutrients. Take a look.
And the thing that I noticed probably within 10, 12 days after I'd started on the glyconutrients was that about 90% of the pain was totally gone. And I thought, man, this is great stuff. By Thanksgiving, I had cut my insulin in about 50%. So I thought, man, we got something going here. I went to the podiatrist. She took an x-ray so she could tell what was going on. And she said, you can actually see the difference in the bone density just in the x-rays. We think there's no hope. There's nothing different, but there is hope. There is a different direction that you can take.
We recently interviewed Julie Ireland, who had arthritis, neuropathy, and macular degeneration. Her doctors told Julie to get her affairs in order and prepare for death. Let's watch.
I was in a wheelchair with extreme pain, and I was ill for 10 years. One of my major diagnoses was that I had neuropathy. I was feeling worse and worse and worse, and nothing was helping me. I was going blind very rapidly. My right eye was totally blind because I had from macular degeneration. Doctors saying too, there's nothing more we can do for you. I went home starting to prepare myself for death.
Listen to Julie's amazing story after she started on the glyconutrients.
And when I was introduced to the glyconutrients, I remembered, you cannot take too much, it's food. And me being a nurse, and I thought, well, I'm going to test that. I started at 5 o'clock in the evening. By 7 o'clock in the morning, I knew something was happening because I realized that my pain was less, and without realizing it, I got up and walked. And that's where all my pain came from. All symptoms disappeared, one after another. Today, I don't have any symptoms. I have no pain. I can get up and do what I want. I can drive my car.
For those of you who are worried that you or a loved one might inherit a genetic disease or disorder, I have some very hopeful news. Listen to what these doctors have to say.
Do glyconutrients have the potential to support the body's need to address genetic deficiencies or disorders?
Well, I'm glad you answered that, Janet. A mother contacted me that she had a little daughter, 5.5 years old, with achondroplastic dwarfism. You know about that because you know about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Normal size head and thorax, little short arms and feet, the legs. 1 year on the glyconutrients with the missing molecules from your garden and orchard, and the doctors were astounded that arms and legs were growing. They x-rayed the growth centers. Instead of being disorganized, now they look like normal growth centers.
Dr. Fleischer, do you have anything to add to that?
In my own practice, I've seen patients who've had degenerative disorders, genetically based disorders, that when given the glyconutrients began to have relief of their symptoms that did not occur with any sort of other therapy, including conventional medications.
What about in your patients? Have you seen how many diseases and debilitating illnesses has this been able to help?
As a family physician, I see a very broad range of diseases, from pregnant women to newborn babies to old people and everything in between. There isn't any kind of disease category that I don't see as a family physician, especially as a homeopathic family physician. And I found that the glyconutrients play a major role in helping to allow me to support patients' healing processes. I haven't found a patient yet that it didn't benefit to some degree.
Wow. Okay. Dr. McDaniel, is it really possible, now this is one that's kind of key to a lot of people, to slow or reverse the aging process?
You've asked a very important question because this influences everyone. And back shortly after the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act was passed, which endorses at the federal level these new type of missing nutrients being added back to the diet, we started hearing from people from 75 to 100 that would send in or get up and tell us in testimonies that they had returned to mental and physical activities they had given up 5, 10, 15 years before.
Dr. Fleischer, I'd like to get your thoughts on whether you think it's possible to slow or even reverse the aging process using the glyconutrient program.
I definitely do believe it's true. I've been following patients clinically now for over 20 years, and when I've added the glyconutrients in one form or another into their dietary program, I watch the reversal. I observe it both subjectively and objectively with lab tests and examination. For example, I've treated many people with congestive heart failure who are in their 70s and 80s, and they come to me on many different kinds of medications. And when I've added the glyconutritional agents, we can see objective changes in their congestive heart failure, the decreased swelling, and improvement in shortness of breath, and x-rays and other laboratory studies showing that the cardiac function, the heart function is improving. So yes, there's a definite change.
Back in January 2001, we interviewed Joni Meyer. She suffered incredible pain from fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue deficiency disorder. Let's watch.
I was tired all the time. I was having panic attacks. I had no reason to be depressed, but I was. I had pain all over my body. I just kept searching for some answers, and found some wonderful doctors who cared for me, but nothing really worked. Nothing really relieved the deep pain that I had, but nothing really relieved the tiredness, the exhaustion that I felt every day.
Here's what Joni told us just over 4 years ago about her health after she started taking glyconutritionals.
To make a long story short, in 6 months after I began taking the glyconutritionals, I was symptom-free. Completely symptom-free. Glyconutritionals for me gave me my life back. I had energy. I had no pain. I was able to focus. I was able to love life again. To anyone who has given up hope, who has CFIDs, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, whatever they call it, whose doctor has told you that there is no hope, there is hope. Glyconutritionals work.
And on today's program, we are very pleased to have Joni Meyer join us again from her home in Tempe, Arizona. Joni, welcome.
And thank you for having me. It's a privilege.
It's now been over 4 years since we last spoke. How has your health been, Joni?
My health has been wonderful. In fact, I'm completely symptom-free of chronic fatigue immune deficiency and the pain that goes along with that, the emotional pain as well as the physical pain.
And Joni, do you still give credit to glyconutrients for saving your life and staying so healthy?
One of the greatest things that I think happened to me with this whole program was that I had prayed. I had no hope. The doctors had given up on me. And I prayed for an answer, and the glyconutritional program that came my way for me was the answer, the gift that God gave me at a time of great need.
Joni, thank you for sharing your inspiring story with us.
And thank you for having me.
This next story is truly remarkable. I am very pleased to have Lori and Mike Beaucamp with us from their home. Welcome to Wellness Up Close.
Thanks, Ann. It is really wonderful. It's a pleasure for us to both be here with you.
Lori, I know you have been through quite an ordeal over the past 5 years. Tell us about the disease you were diagnosed with.
The disease that the doctors have diagnosed for me is a double one, multiple sclerosis, MS, and a form of muscular dystrophy called myasthenia gravis.
Tell us what happened when you realized you had something wrong with you.
I was just a normal, healthy, happy, mid-aged housewife, mother, held a full-time job and very, very healthy.
Didn't drink, didn't smoke.
And in the summer of '99, I started choking every time I drank something, and drove myself over to Sunrise Hospital. They did a CAT scan of my brain and found multiple white lesions. Wouldn't even let me leave the hospital. And I can only tell you, within 10 days, Anne, I was paralyzed from my neck down. And my vital organs started to fail, which made me a candidate for what I'd then be undergoing for the next 3 years, gamma globulin infusions. And there was a point when I said to Mike, the drugs are killing me. I'm on 18 different drugs.
What a hopeless and helpless feeling that is. It's just, I can't explain to you how that feels. But I was determined to find somewhere or someone that was going to help her.
So, Lori, how long after you started the glyconutrient program did it take before you noticed an improvement?
Well, Anne, I can only tell you, I liken it to like a wilted plant, a wilted flower. In about 5 days, we could watch my head start to lift up off of my shoulder. And in about 5 weeks, we could see my arms start to get the strength to push myself up out of my wheelchair a bit. And in about 5 months, I was out of my wheelchair.
Lori, is there any doubt in your mind that it was the glyconutrients that caused your miraculous improvement?
Oh, Anne, there's absolutely no question in my mind. Now, here's the update. I'm all the way down to 3 prescription drugs from 18, so you know that's got to make a huge increase in my whole health program.
You know, Anne, what's interesting is that you asked the question, how's Lori doing? Well, from a scientific standpoint, her blood panel for the very first time, it was always abnormal, and
since I became ill.
And she does a lot of blood tests because of her disease. They need to monitor her blood continuously, and this last time her blood panel came back, every X was in the normal range, which was incredible. So is this helping? Absolutely.
Lori, how would you describe your quality of life now?
And my quality of life, due to the glyconutritional program, has turned my life around and given it back to me, literally. I'm able to just live life to its fullest.
Lori, that is so wonderful, and we thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Anne.
We've seen how glyconutrients have given sick people real hope. What is it that makes them so effective in fighting and preventing diseases? Listen to what these doctors have to say.
I think that glyconutritionals offer an advantage over traditional pharmaceutical products and drugs because they are the essential molecules that empower and enable your immune system to function the way that it was genetically programmed to function. And they constitute the natural molecules that your body was designed to use to defend and repair itself, unlike drugs, which are external chemicals that block or control or mediate symptoms for the most part.
Glyconutrients are a unique set of nutrients that are really different than vitamins or different than herbs, different even than amino acids. These glyconutrients were at one point part of our natural diet. They no longer are. Glyconutrients are the basic operating system of our cells. Without these cellular components or molecular components, our cells just don't function properly. Of course, you still need minerals, you still need vitamins, but you have to have proper glyconutrients in your diet.
Let me ask you, Dr. McDaniel, you have spent now over 20 years studying glyconutrients and how they affect people. Can someone who is suffering really be hopeful that a glyconutrient program might be able to help their symptoms and their suffering?
Well, I'm glad you answered that, Jana, because it gives me an opportunity to use a magazine I've been carrying around. It's this issue of Newsweek, and the title there is Diet and Genes, the New Science of Nutrition and Aging. What it relates to is what for nearly 20 years I've been trying to share with people, is that medicine and science has wandered away from the original paradigm of health and healing, and this is a renaissance, a return to utilizing the way our bodies were designed and what has been provided in nature to support optimal health. Because I believe in the research I've involved in, and I have seen the benefits, and that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here talking to you. I want other people to get the benefits.
Glyconutritionals, we're finding, are playing a major role in the whole field of nutrition. It's really cutting edge and helping us to understand the way the body really works and how the body heals.
As a mom, I can really relate to our next story. Caroline Mangelsdorf's daughter, Rakia, suffered from cerebral palsy. Let's listen.
By the time she was age 1, they diagnosed her with cerebral palsy, which is brain damage, and that affects the motor part of the body. She could crawl on the floor, she couldn't walk, she could pull to stand and hold on to something, but as soon as she left that holding position, she would just flop to the floor. I was taking to the doctors all the time because she was having like a lot of upper respiratory infections, ear infections. It was many times I used to go into my bedroom and I'd just lay on the bed and close the door and just cry because it was, it was terrible.
Such a tragedy for any mother to experience, but the news gets better. Take a look.
A week before Christmas, we put her on just 2 capsules of the Glyconutrients a day, and after 1 week, this little girl got up and she walked unassisted and has never had a seizure since. Her, tongue's back in her head, she doesn't drool anymore. She can now get on a swing and swing on a swing. She gets on a scooter and zooms around and having a great time.
Dee Scott's daughter suffered from cystic fibrosis, a deadly disease. This is how Dee tells it.
My oldest daughter, Jordan, was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when she was 11 months old. CF is the #1 genetic killer of children, causes severe lung infections. She could not digest her food, so she was a failure to thrive. She did not have an immune system. She was sick all the time. She was not going to live to be but about 18 to 20 years of age.
Although Dee's story sounds almost hopeless, listen to this happy ending.
After being on the Glyconutrients for about 8 months, her pediatric pulmonologist did a complete annual exam on her and said, after looking at her chest x-ray, that she has the lungs of a healthy child. She began to grow in height and weight, which she was having a problem with before. She began to digest her food for the first time in her whole little life. It's completely changed her life. We feel very blessed that someone cared enough about us to tell us about the Glyconutrients.
We interviewed Sheila McKenna a little over 4 years ago. She had osteoporosis and suffered from a very damaged liver and heart. Her doctor sent her home to die. Take a look.
My liver was damaged. I was already in osteoporosis. I couldn't walk. My circulation to my extremities, my fingers and toes had stopped. My thumb was and forefinger were black, and the doctors wanted to amputate my thumb because they said it was dead. And so I was making my final arrangements, and I was already in the process of giving things away to my children and everything because it was quite clear that I wasn't going to live.
After Sheila started taking Glyconutritionals, her condition improved dramatically. Listen to what many people are calling a true miracle.
In the 3 years that I have been on Glyconutritional products, my entire health has changed. I'm healthier today than I was before I became ill. All of the damage that had been done, and it was serious, to my heart, my liver, the fact that I was at, my bone loss was so severe that I was in osteoporosis has been dramatically changed. I have my thumb in my forefinger. My entire system, I've regained the weight, and I sleep better than I ever slept in my life. I'm absolutely enjoying full health.
And on today's program, we are pleased to have with us a very healthy Sheila McKenna. Sheila, good to have you here.
My pleasure, Ann.
Sheila, we last spoke to you about 4 years ago, so how has your health been since then?
I have been feeling better every day. Certainly in 4 years, I have improved dramatically. Many parts of my body have shown improvement. As a matter of fact, I had a tremendous physical just the beginning of this year, and the heart doctor said, don't come back. My liver's totally normal. All my chemistry was absolutely perfect. There wasn't one item that was not more than normal. It was all perfect.
So do you still credit your amazing recovery and good health to the glyconutrients?
Absolutely. If I miss even 1 day of taking my glyconutritionals, my disease comes back very quickly. I actually can tell the difference within 2 days if I don't take my glyconutritionals. I have tried it for a day or two to see what would happen. I won't do that again. I am firmly convinced, I know for a fact, that the glyconutritionals are what keeps me alive.
Sheila, that's terrific. Best wishes for staying healthy, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Charles Cobb thought he was healthy one day and then had a heart attack the next day. Take a look.
I was in great health, great shape, I thought. I had normal cholesterol, but I had a heart attack with a 90% blockage. And for 60 days, I did every single thing that the medical profession told me to do. And they put a stent in my heart to fix the blockage. At the end of the 60 days, they put me on a treadmill and they said, you passed. You can go back to the gym, but you have a permanently damaged heart. You've got to take it easy. Don't overdo it.
So a friend recommended glyconutrients, and Charles listened. The results speak for themselves.
I consumed more than what they recommend. And in the 3rd week, I began to have reduction in pain, which was very substantial. We were doing this particular nuclear treadmill test, and in the middle of the test, this other cardiologist says to me, gee, Mr. Cobb, this doesn't show any sign of a previous heart attack. Do you mind if I run this test again? And I could tell he thought there was something the matter with his equipment. Well, he ran the test the 2nd time. They can find no damage to my permanently damaged heart. And I credit the glyconutrients for that.
We've seen how glyconutrients have literally saved people's lives. But are they safe? And are they for everyone? We asked the doctors on today's show these 2 questions.
Well, they sound wonderful, the glyconutrients, but how safe are they, Dr. Fleischer?
They're very, very safe. I mean, basically they're foodstuffs. I mean, people have been eating them for centuries. Medicinal mushrooms and seaweeds of all different kinds of sources. A lot of natural sources like oat bran, rice bran. These are foods that have been in the native cultures for millennia.
And you agree they're safe as well, Dr. McDaniel?
Food is about as safe as you can get, and that's what these glyconutrients and phytochemicals are.
Dr. Fleischer, who now should consider getting on a glyconutritional program?
Well, actually, if you live and breathe, you should be on glyconutrients. Everyone, truly, everyone can benefit from being on glyconutrients because, as I mentioned earlier, it's just like any other sort of vitamin or mineral deficiency that we've had.
As a physician, and after seeing many people with many different diseases and disorders, I have concluded that anybody who cares about their health must look further into this science of glyconutritionals. It is imperative.
I would recommend this to every man, woman, and child on this planet. Why do I say that? Because if you have cells, you need glyconutrients.
You've seen how people overcame their diseases and now lead healthier, symptom-free lives. You've heard medical doctors and experts tell us how glyconutrients support your body's ability to defend, restore, repair, and protect itself. So please, if you or a loved one are struggling with a disease or simply want to give your body the best chance of being healthy, we hope the information in this video will benefit you. Thank you for watching.